Fellow tennis nerds, I'm here with Adam, and we have a smorgasbord, which is what we say in Sweden, of different things here on the table. They're grips, they are pallets, more grips and grips and grips, and dampeners, and this kind of long butt cap that you probably haven't not seen, or maybe you have. A lot of lead tape. We're going to talk about accessories today and how important the grip is and what it can do to your game, and also maybe how you need to tweak your racket depending on the grip, depending on the weight. Like we play today, you can see here on this Quickma control that it needs weight. And some rackets need weight, some rackets need to be matched, some rackets just are very anemic, and some rackets are fine as is. So Adam, how has your journey been with grips?
It's been a long journey, and it was a long time coming. At first, you start with a little bit of lead tape, and then, oh, I like this shock absorber or dampener better than others. And then you end up changing the base grip, right, of your racket, because you feel you want a little more padding, cushioning, even weight, So people do experiment with leather as well, and I went down that road early on, and it's an exciting. This is true tennis nerding.
Yeah, this is the nerdiest video we've done, probably.
Yeah, and it's almost too much, but everyone should understand what they have in their racket. If at least as a base grip, and just think about maybe if something as simple as a €3 grip can help your game, why not explore a different type of grip, right?
Yeah.
But then it can get really expensive if you're changing the base grips and all of the butt caps and pallets and so on. So it's really interesting. I would advise caution if you do go down that road.
That rabbit hole?
Yeah, the rabbit hole. It is fun. It can be frustrating. It can be expensive, but this is, true tennis nerding.
And it's fun. We like tennis nerding, but sometimes it can get too much. As you can see here on the table, it's like a lot of stuff. But the grip thing is important because the different rackets have different grip shapes. Obviously, you have a different size depending on how your hand is and how your preference is. I mean, you get more rip and easier use of the wrist with an L2 maybe, but then you feel more secure and stable with an L3.
Correct.
So that's it's tough to find your perfect grip size. What's your grip size these days? Is it like an 3.5? Is it a 2.5?
Yeah, I would say it's more like a 3.5. It's an L3, which is a 4 3/8 US, and 2 overgrips. So it's quite similar to an L4 with 1 overgrip. But it depends on the racket, right? So on a Wilson, that would probably be too big. An L4 on a Wilson isn't the same as an L4 on a Volcal or a Head or other rackets. So it really does depend on each racket. So for example, on a Yonex, the base grips are they're very thin.
Yep.
And if you were to replace their base grip with something like a Syntec Pro, a Babolat, thick, padded, cushiony one, you're actually detracting a lot of the positives from that Yonex, right? So the feel, sound, and everything. So it really can change the racket's characteristics in a big way. So I wouldn't advise a Syntec Pro on a Yonex, for example.
No, you need to find what works. And also, if you want maximum cushioning, you probably want to get a thicker grip. And if you want to feel the bevels, you might want to be the leather guy. So you want to use, this is one of the most popular leather grips. No, it's not the finest calf skin, this one, but you had ones before. But then if you have a Babolat leather grip, especially if it's new, it's not as compressed, it's pretty comfortable. The head one is you really feel the bevels. So in the bevels is every grip is 8-sided, and you have here the 8 sides, and then with the leather you will feel it really strongly. As I said before, Marco Trungoliti plays with full leather, no overgrip, but 99.9% of plays with overgrips.
Right, and I would say also you need to be careful. You change the weight, the balance point of the racket in a big way with leather. For example, this is 27 grams, uncut, untrimmed. So if you trim it, if you do buy a replacement grip, you do have to learn how to taper and trim it at the top. So it's probably 25, 26 grams, which is quite heavy. So that'll change the feel of your racket too. Balance point, the way it flexes. So worth trying if you're really struggling and want something different, but just know that it does really change the characteristics.
Yeah.
of a racket.
And today we played in really hot weather, but it wasn't too humid, I would say. The other day
Right.
you played in really humid weather. I was in Malta, I played in extremely humid weather. Then, I mean, neither Adam nor I like the dry grips, but this can be a lifesaver in humid weather. There's the famous Torna grip, and this one is probably made by Head or some other company. I don't really know, but it is better for very, very sweaty hands. Normally, I'm fine with sweaty hands, but even the color of some overgrips can change. So like you have a Yonex Super Grip, and it's red. It's pretty ugly, to be honest. I bought this by mistake, and this is super slippery. Yeah. So here we have it on the Artengo. Both of us, like, we're slipping pretty badly. But then if you get the white one, which is my standard, which is here on his PB10, it's much better, much drier. Overall, in my opinion, like with the overgrips, I think the Wilson Pro, we talk about quality. Maybe it's gone down in quality a bit. I'm not sure. But at least it takes the humidity a bit better. Like, it's a little bit more dry than even a Yonex one, even though they're similar.
Yeah, I would say that the Wilson Pro overgrip has been the standard for many years.
Yeah,
the go-to for a lot of pros. A lot of other brands have their equivalent, and they're all pretty good too. Yonex make a good one. I will say, I think the Wilson Pro has gotten thinner in recent years, and just something as simple as the tape, quality of the tape. I can't believe we're talking about the quality of the grip tape, but
no, but it's an annoyance for sure. Yeah,
it's very thin now, and you can't reuse it. You used to be able to take it off and re-stick it onto other rackets. Now it just comes completely apart. It is different from the Wilson Pro overgrip that I got used to, because now all my grips feel too thin. Yep. I use 2 overgrips to get the feel, cushioning, thickness that I like, and now it's like I still need more, which is a little frustrating that we're at this point that I'm using 2 overgrips, and
you probably need to up a grip size probably.
Anyway, it's a lot of experimenting, but yeah, there's a lot out there and a lot of information you can find online. Tennis Warehouse is pretty good at mentioning thickness and weights. Yeah,
thickness and weights is something you have to think about. Like, I mean, you don't have to get too crazy about this. I mean, we're tennis nerding here, so this is normal. But as you can see on this box, it says its full weight is 27 grams. So a leather grip weighs a lot more.
A lot more.
So if you want to change your balance to more, handle heavy, have a little bit lower balance, then I think a leather grip is a good idea, unless you want to put like lead tape and keep your normal base grip. But as you can see, it's a different thickness down here, 1.45 millimeter. So all these things make a difference. We don't want to encourage you to go too crazy, because I think we've both been down this rabbit hole. But it's good to know what you're doing. And it's good to know why you like certain things and why you don't like. Nusolinko grip's pretty good, but not maybe as durable as some grips. MSV also decent. There's a lot of over grips. The Head ones, they're okay. I have Prime Tour. They're a good one. Actually, one of my favorite overgrips that I don't have anymore was made by Rich Sports. So it's like an LA-based brand. They make dampeners and grips and some other small things. They have the really durable grips, but they're expensive, but they're really durable. So it depends on your taste, how thick you want them, and so on. Tackiness is also important. You want dry. This is like Tourline, and it's very tacky. It's a super tacky grip.
Yeah, very tacky.
But that can be too tacky for some players, So it's like another science of its own, and some base grips you like, some base grips you don't like. Some players play with like base grip and no overgrip, but I think most pros play with, like, for example, Andy Murray, he plays the Caracal ones. Have you tried these?
I actually haven't. It popped up when I was exploring different options for weight, but this came quite highly rated, and I did know that Murray used this.
This is very good. So Syntec Pro Head Hydrosorb, which is this one, and that one. The Caracal are my favorite base grips.
They're more cushioned on the cushioned side. Yeah,
cushioned a little bit heavier, but it's like it's good, solid grips.
Right.
Leather, bit too harsh for my hands usually, and I feel the bevels anyway. But it's like a little bit up to your taste.
And Yonex has very light, thin base grips.
Yeah. Those we avoid. I would say.
You can't even buy, actually.
I think I have Yonex here somewhere, but it's the grip that I remove the fastest. Let's say I get the racket and I remove the grip.
Yes.
It's here. So this is super thin. You can probably not see it, but it's like if you get a Yonex racket, it might be worth it. Sorry about this Yonex. It might be worth replacing the base grip.
But don't go too thick, because then you're talking about a different grip size almost. Completely base Yonex L3 is actually quite big. So if you put a Syntec Pro on that Yonex,
Yeah.
it's going to feel a little chunky, like a significantly more chunky, and it detracts from what the racket's meant to feel like.
Yes.
I know some people complain about wrist pain and stuff. A lot of it is from the base grip too, but then the trade-off is feel.
You always have to find your spec and your grip, and it's also the shapes. Like some players who play like Wilson rackets, for example, they cannot change to another brand because of the flare. So if we talk about grips, you see there's a flare on Wilson rackets, and I like this flare. Sometimes it's too much. Sometimes it's too much, but I do tend to enjoy it. On Yonex rackets, historically, there's no flare almost.
Flare. Yeah.
So it might be tough for a Wilson player to go to Yonex unless you have like a pro contract where they will fix it. Head, they have a little bit of flare. It's a little bit. It's pretty good. So I think for me, it's like Head or Wilson grips. You know.
Honestly, no complaints about either of them. With the grip shape and the butt cap, the tapering of the butt cap is important too. So it does get thinner. This is a head butt cap, and it really tapers out nice and thin. So you don't feel the transition from the butt cap to the pallet, and it's quite nice. Yonex, there's no flare, and not knocking Yonex that much.
It's okay to knock.
It's different for everyone, and it can feel good for some people, but it doesn't taper down quite as much, so you do feel that transition up here, and not as much at the very end. So
you can get really into it. The wheat there.
I don't advise most people to think about it, because it doesn't make a difference in many people's game, even if you do know what's happening, right? So
it can get into your head too much, you know, like that's the thing.
Yep.
And if we get into grip shape, like I said, like the flare is important, but there's also how rounded the grip is. Like a lot of grips used to be rectangular, like the Head used to have more rectangular grips called TK76 with the pallet. Wilson were always pretty rounded, I would say, but now they seem to have a little bit different shape on the blade versus their new Defier, which I think the flare is even more aggressive on it, which is why I gone down a grip size on the Defier. I'm not sure if I will regret that, but for me, that was what I got. So, and then you have, for you, for example, like today you brought the Vulcal PB10 mid. So this mid-size racket is maybe not meant for modern consumption, let's say, but you play well with it, and also it's a fun racket. Like it was one of my favorites from the good old days, let's say. And it has an excellent feel to it.
It's a classic. I played with Vulcal when I was younger. I played with a DNX8, which is basically the pure drive. I played with an extended one too, and I just got used to the grip shape. It felt really good and natural for the backhands, and you can't really pinpoint what it is. It does have really good cushioning system, but the butt cap and the grip shape is actually rectangular, quite rectangular. So.
Very different from a Wilson, for example.
With a certain grip would love it, and some will actually probably hate it.
Yeah.
But I think
it's very strong. Let's say it's a pronounced, like the Technifiber rackets.
But I think as a package, this is one of the better ones when it comes to grips, butt caps. So Vulcal has always done a good job. Wilson have done a very good job. Head is flip-flopped a little bit. I think most people do like rounder grips, more squared, like what a Prince. Prince is probably. I actually quite like the Prince shape. It's about as squared as possible. Yeah. It's very, very round or square, so I've liked that for years.
How would you describe like the Babula grip? Because that's like a very specific grip. I mean, it has similarities to Wilson in terms.
I think it's quite square, and then you do notice the butt cap. You just notice that it's there. It's a chunky butt cap. It's not a bad one, but you do feel it, right? So that's how I would describe it. No real complaints. Maybe the butt cap is a little more pronounced than the Vulcal, or
it's a pretty good grip, let's say. Like I overall no huge complaints. For me, it's been Wilson Head Babolat pretty steadily.
We've talked about Technifiber too. There's something that it's very close to the Vulcal. I wish I knew what's different. I couldn't even tell you what the difference is, and it feels a lot worse than the Vulcal.
Yeah, the Vulcal it feels like it's a little bit more angled on some side, that you can easier find certain grips. But now, I mean, the rumor is, or like pretty certain rumor is, that we're gonna see some changes in the Technifiber grip from the next iteration of Racket. So I think they are working on it, and I think they will get there. But it's been an extreme transition. Like when you go from a Wilson to a Technifiber. If you're a pro player, I think it's impossible. Like you will need to get a custom grip.
Yeah, I've been trying to get used to it, and it's fine. It's just it's all, if it's always in your mind, it's not the best thing. Kind of pick up your racket and forget what grip shape is, right? So.
And like we said with Head, like you had, so we have this here, the Head Extreme MP XL. But then we have the Pro Stock that we tried from you, your old Fokina style Pro Stock, and that one has the older pallet, so that's more rectangular.
Yeah, and it would a lot of people probably wouldn't like it.
And had changed their grip like 2012 maybe or something when they transitioned to also like correct head sizes, because they were like doing the 98 when it's a 95.
I used to use a Prestige that was, I actually thought it was a 98 for years until I realized actually it's a 95.
Yeah.
It makes sense why my balls are landing in the middle of the court.
I
don't blame it on that only, right?
But no, but you should always blame the racket. You know how it is.
Yeah.
And then, last but not least, we don't need to get so deeper into that, but it's an interesting topic. Like I said, some rackets like this one require customization. You need weight, and you tend to prefer a heavier spec. So a lot of the rackets sometimes I give to you in stock, then they turn out to be like, hey, can I have some lead tape? Can we have some lead tape?
Yeah.
Do you know your spec approx? Like, you have a pretty good idea of what your spec is, because that's usually what people have, some kind of, this is my range, and then they need to be up in that range.
I've battled for years of going no lead tape and lead tape. Generally, when I have lead tape, I do play better. I just think it is a help. At this point, it may be mental.
Yeah.
But I do like plus over 340 grams static weight.
A bit heavier, yeah.
So it's hard to get there without lead tape. You can
No, almost no models. Like, I mean, you had that one that was like under spec, but it was 330 at least.
It's 330, but it was actually 321. So it came in light. Once I put the 2 grips on, which I have to do for most rackets, the balance point is so far down that I do need for the balance point to increase back up again. So honestly, I don't know if it's advisable to do this. I normally like 3 and 9, which is a depolarized setup.
Yep.
But then I actually put a big strip at 12 too.
Yeah.
And then if I have to remove, I'll remove from there. But that's pretty much what I do with every new racket. I experiment with every new racket that I'm trying. Right?
I felt like I needed to add that on a lot of rackets, especially like these types of rackets who are made for control. This is an H19 mold, so this is pretty much like Wilson's reply to the Prestige, and it's a racket that pretty desperately needs weight. Like, you can swing it super fast, but it doesn't add anything on the ball.
On a Prince Graphite, which is similar to that probably. Performance-wise, I have exactly that setup for lead tape. So yeah, I like a heavier spec, and the way to get there is really lead.
And don't start. I mean, you can get tungsten, but tungsten you need to add more. And I wouldn't worry too much about lead contamination. I mean, wash your hands if you're very anxious about it, but you need to like ingest a lot of lead or get in touch with a lot of lead to have problems.
Handle it with care. Wash your hands.
Yeah, that's it. Start small. So if you're unsure if you need lead or not, like in Adam's case, maybe he knows, like, okay, I like a beefier weight, I think. And if you have a swing weight machine, you can check, okay, this is 320 strung, which is pretty low, 290 unstrung.
Which I've never had.
No.
So I always go by feel.
Yeah, he goes by feel. But I would recommend having some machine. You can get a basic Brifidi for 300 euros or even less maybe. And you can get, like, if you want like a pro machine, you get a Metro Tune or a Wilson Bayardo Tune Pro or Head 3-in-1. But it actually helps a lot to understand, like, when you match your rackets and so on. So here is my Metro Tune. An awesome machine that comes with software, so I can easily customize my rackets, customize other players' rackets. But what I mainly do is my own. And today we have a new Defier, 98 Pro, red line here, so the concept edition, they did change the name. It has plastic on the handle, otherwise raw, no weight added. So first, before you weigh it, because I've gotten this before, you need to remove the cover. If there's any cover, there was no cover on this one. And the tape of the handle, because that adds weight as well. So if I weigh it now, it will be heavier, of course. So it is now without plastic and it's ready to be weighed. We have to turn on the machine. If you haven't calibrated your machine, it's always good to calibrate machines, but if it's in the same place, you don't need that. Here you have the specs we need to look at, which is swing weight, twist weight. You don't have to worry so much. I mean, if it's the racket, how prone it is to twisting. And then you have balance, which is very important for swing feel. And that's usually where when I talk to pros, they're very keen on their balance being the same. You know, they don't want to change balance. That's like worse than the weight. So you just put it like that. It has to be the side there. And then I click measure. And then we have, that is pretty close to spec. So 303.9 grams, that is just 1 gram below, and 31.8 centimeters is similar to what it should be. I think it should be 31.5. So pretty perfect in terms of weight. Let's check the swing weight. By putting it in here, attaching it, similar for all swing weight machines, this part. Then we go and click it. And this you should do 2-3 times to get the proper value. So this is unstrung. If I add strings, I would add 30 points to this approx. Depends on like the thickness of the string and the weight of the string, but if it's a 125 poly, then I think around 20. Yeah, so this is gonna be with strings. Let's say I put all the power 125. This would be 323, and weight will be a bit more because I will add 5 grams to the handle with an overgrip. Balance with the strings increases to 32.8, but then drops down again when I add some weight to the handle. Maybe we end up at 32.5. Pretty low twist weight. This is what I think everyone notices with the 98 Pro, is that you need to add weight to the sides because the twist weight is pretty low. So here we have another racket that I've already done this to. You can see there's lead here and lead on the other side of the racket, and that goes like that. And this increases the plow through, so the racket is less prone to twisting and also goes more through the ball. It increases power a little bit. If I would put it here, it will increase the power more if it's the same weight. And if I would put it here, it would increase the power less. And if I would put it here, it wouldn't increase the power at all. This is one way to do it. And you can experiment with adding weight here or adding weight maybe in the throat. As long as you start small and you don't overdo it, this could be an easy way for you to get more out of your racket. I like a bit more weight as well. I'm also old school. I like having a bit more handle weight, so I always end up adding in the handle. But on some rackets, like a blade which has like not so much power and do benefit from a bit more plow through. And we both tried this today, strung with original, which is a good string for this racket, I would say, and a little bit of weight at top, like to 332 strung swing weight. And we both I think this was the racket we kind of liked the most from all the rackets we hit with today.
It was a beautiful sound and a beautiful feel, and maybe it's mental, but it felt like the lead was helping me today.
No, but it's like you feel the plow, like the plow through on that racket was pretty evident.
I remember trying that racket on that same court last year, similar conditions, and it just didn't have, with no customization, it didn't have enough. Even that little bit, it felt like a completely different racket. So
it can make a lot of change to one, and like the same. And we had Willie and Henrik. I talked a lot. Like Willie likes a lot of weight. He's used to playing prestiges, and that's what he likes. This is a racket that might still need some weight if you're talking to Adam, but most players probably can play it stock because it's stiffer and it has like a thicker beam than the blade. So it's a little bit dependent on the racket, what your spec is. It's super personal, so you can't really slap too much. You have to start small. You have to see where you go. If you start like this on like a power racket, like a pure drive, you probably will have a bit too much power. But then if you're Andy Murray, you can look at his E-Zone now that he's playing. It's full of lead, and it's an E-Zone 100. So it's already like super powerful. So it's really personal. Like he likes the weight. I don't think he likes to play without any weight on it. So you can understand that, you know.
Right. Yeah. I mean, early days he was playing with a racket that was absurdly heavy.
Yeah.
Swing weight, static weight. And he progressively went lower, but it just, every player's different. Everything's trending a little lighter nowadays. People are swinging just so fast.
Yeah.
Rackets do have a lot of help and technology in them that you don't need the lead maybe. It's important to know what you have in your hand, and if you can enhance it a little bit, why not? Why not? The pros are doing it. Like, even though if you can't see it, pros have lead tape at 12 o'clock.
Yeah, or 3 and 9.
Or 3 and 9.
12 o'clock you can hide it under the grommet, so that's why you don't see it a lot. But on this, you see it on the sides, because some rackets need more on the sides. If we give a little bit of a quick idea about what lead does, if we take the bulbs here. So if you add weight, the higher up you add the weight, the more swing weight you add. So if at 12 you will maximize the swing weight. You probably will need more weight if you just add at the sides to get the same swing weight as 12, but you will have a different, like a bit more twist weight, so it won't wobble so much. This one will generate the most power. If you just want weight but not so much difference in swing weight and power, you can add here on the throat, which a lot of two-handed backhand players do. I think the claim has been that it like makes the racket come through a bit faster on the wrist.
I actually tend to do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just feels a little more stable.
So this is just like adding weight without really changing balance so much. So if you put it in the throat like this. So, and then obviously putting in the handle, it will increase maneuverability without increasing swing weight. So unless you go crazy with the handle, then you will maybe make 1 point swing weight or 2. But you can do a lot of work. Don't overdo it. Start small. But with a machine, it can actually help to get your rackets matched and to get some more power. Like if you miss power, like 2 grams of 12 can be it, you know?
Yeah.
And you can also obviously add in the bridge area. So there's a lot of things you can do with a tennis racket. Change the grips like we talked about. Get the like nice grip feel. Add weight to the racket. Strings and tension is a whole different topic. For example, today we played with the Extreme. This is a pretty good string called Sirius, but we both felt like it with this tension, it's pretty high, it's 25 kilos, 26. It doesn't have any pocketing in this racket, right? Like it was like the wrong string for this racket.
Yeah, I loved the racket, and I think I would like the strings too, but it didn't complement that racket well today. No pocketing, no dwell time on the strings. So compared to the Extreme that I tried the other day, so. Yeah, it's simple. All of these things are very important to think about.
There's so many variables, but we've been nerding out here. I hope this gives you a little bit of inspiration and ideas about what you can do in terms of checking out the grips, understanding the weight and the balance and the swing weight of your racket. And then you can maybe have 3 matched rackets that you like and you're ready to go. You don't have to think about this ever again, but it's good to have a basic idea of this because it will save you some time and I think it can help you play better in the end. Thanks, Adam.
Yeah, thank you. That was fun.
Fellow tennis nerds, I'm here with Henrik and Willie. And we've been hitting, so they're sweaty and out of breath. That's when I usually start recording. Today I wanted to talk a bit about customization because we got some questions on our the Fire versus Python video. Like why should you customize? If you have to customize, it's a problem. We did reply to one question. But I thought we'd just dive a little bit deeper into why you would customize and what it does to the racket. So if we start with Hank, the tank. He has added weight to, I guess it's mine, or maybe it's his because he doesn't want to give this back now, the Fire 98 Pro, which he's playing really well with. You have weight on the sides there.
Yeah.
It's not like crazy amounts. I would say it's maybe 4 grams.
Yeah, 3 grams or something.
Yeah, 3 to 4 grams.
Yeah.
And what do you get? Why did you add that to the racket?
Just to look cool.
This is true. Okay, now the video is over.
Yeah, I want to look like a pro. No.
Yes.
This racket has a fairly low static weight, 305 grams, and the swing weight is also pretty low.
Yeah.
So it was like with strings it was 318. So we added lead here on the sides. So now the swing weight is about 325. If you add it here, you get more like plow through, more like weight in the racket, higher swing weight. But here you add a little bit more twist weight, stability.
Yeah.
On off-center shots. So the ball sinks in a little bit more into the string bed. And if you remember the old PWS system from Wilson,
Yes.
they had like extra weight here and here, just to make the racket more solid, more stable in the twist weight.
Yeah.
So that's why I add lead, and I have always done lead here on the sides.
Yeah, you've been a lead on the sides guy for a long time. I started as lead on the sides when you play like prestigious because they have very low twist weights and like they easily flutter on off-center shots. Then when you get to arrows and stuff, you don't really need weight on the sides. You need more like weight at the top to increase the swing weight, because the higher you put the weight in on the racket head, the more swing weight you have. So this is a kind of a medium swing weight increase, but it does add stability and a little bit more plow through, but not as much as 12.
And it's easy for everyone can do it. I mean, you just take some lead and place it here.
Well, Willie, he's another type of player. He has even more weight, and he has weight a little bit of everywhere as an experimentation phase, I guess.
Yeah.
But you found like a really steady spec. What did you feel like when you played this racket without weight in the beginning?
Very wobbly, I would say. This is a racket that needs weight from my perspective, especially the Pro stocks that comes in a little bit lower than the retail version, around 300 grams. Where you really need weight on this racket is at 3 and 9. But aside from that, it's a great racket. But the lead placement is more important in this one than maybe some other frames.
Yeah, there may be arrows and stuff.
Yeah.
So you played Prestige, and you played Prestige pretty heavy.
Yeah.
And when you have a spec that you play, you usually don't want to go too far away, even if you change the racket. Like, did you feel like you are close now to your former spec, or are you lighter than with the Prestige that you played? It was a Prestige 95 Springe,
Yeah, I think
293.
it's around 5 grams lighter. It's also a very different racket when it comes to the characteristics. But this Python, if I would switch to the Arrow, for example, I would struggle a lot with this spec. Then it would fly a lot.
Yeah.
Depth.
Too much power.
But this is a rather controlled racket, so I think it suits quite well with the heavy spec on this racket as well, which is why I like it. Yeah, I think that the transition phase is, of course, difficult coming from the most stiff racket, probably, or most controlled racket. I think this is a good transition racket in that sense.
No, I agree. And we can show on Will's racket here. So Henrik, you see a lot of like throat weight.
Yeah.
Do you like that? What do you think that does in general to the racket?
It increased the static weight without increasing the swing weight too much. If you have weight in the throat, it adds maybe 1 unit of swing weight or something, because the more up in the top of the racket, the more the swing weight increase.
Yeah.
So if you have, let's say you add silicone, you don't add swing weight at all.
Yeah.
But if you add the same amount here, like 2 grams, you maybe increase the swing weight with 6-7 units or something like that, even more. And if you add lead here, you only increase a little margin of swing weight, but you get more static weight without adjusting the balance.
Yeah, and it's still above the handle. So why a lot of pros that I've talked to add weight here, and something I've seen Dieter Kalle, the famous customizer, do that a lot on like Technifiber frames, is that like some people say when the hand is here, like it comes through like this, like better, like it's a little bit whippier in a way, but even if with more weight. Not sure that's true. I think other people might, like, depending on your swing style, it might affect you differently. But I've seen, especially on two-handed backhand players, they like to have a bit of mass here. It's pretty popular, but I don't see it on one-handed backhand players, for example.
I only tried it on like one racket one time, and I cannot say that I didn't even think about it. So I'm not sure. I have not personally tried it in a longer phase, so I cannot really comment how it feels. But I see a lot of pro players does it, and if it works, it works.
And you, Willie, you have a machine coming your way that you're gonna measure rackets with.
Yes.
Because it's in your gig or your job, your second job of holy tennis, like when you deal with pro stocks and stuff, it's good to check the specs, like full on swing weight and twist weight and everything. What are you looking forward to receiving?
It's a Metro Tune. It's a great machine, I think. I heard many good things, especially in the experimentation phase. So I'm experimenting myself. So where should I place the weight to get the spec that I want to? I think that software part is good with the Metro Tune. So I really look forward to having that. I have some experience with Head before, also a good machine, but I heard many good things with the Metro Tune. So I look forward to trying that.
It's very good. I like it a lot, and it's fun to experiment. What you can end up doing, which you guys probably both know, is you over-experiment. So you become like, I should move the weight there, I should try the string there, I should change the tension, and the pros also do this a lot. Is this something you've experienced with your journey with the Python here?
Yeah, it was for sure. I was struggling a lot with my game before when I started with the Python. Actually, I felt it was a nice racket, but didn't really figure it out with the volley and so on. So I ended up with this spec, which is relatively close to what I used before. And here I feel solid on all shots. And I think you also adjust your technique and your shots according to the weight of the racket. So I think that's why I ended up being with a spec that is fairly close to what I used before.
Yeah, it's very related to your swing style and preferences usually.
Yeah.
And that's what we see with Henrik. He usually adds like weight on the sides. He likes that spec. You usually go like relatively headlight, which these are already, kind of more headlight rackets than what an Arrow would be. But you use a machine called Brifidi for your swing weight. Swing weight is maybe the most important measurement, I would say, that people don't really know about. And that's been good for you. Yeah, it's very portable.
I think it's a 3D printed machine. Very light, easy to set up. You can take it everywhere. And you just add your smartphone, and then you calibrate with the calibration rod. You do a couple of easy measurements, and it's all set, and it's very accurate. I mean, when we have compared it with your Metro Tune, it differs maybe 1 unit.
Yeah, which is within the
within the
spec tolerance, right? Really.
So it's for that money, it's great and it works for me. And I've customized a lot of pro player rackets as well with it, and yeah, it's really easy to use, and everyone can use it, so to say. And I think it's like $300 or something.
Yeah, it's the cheapest swing weight machine for sure that I've seen, at least, you know.
And, I mean, the Metro Tune is a totally different ballgame. They can, like when you are placing lead weights on a car rim, they can also show where on the frame to place it, and it's a lot of more like technical features on that one. But the Brufidi SW1 machine is, for me, it's perfect. I had 3-in-1 in the past and sold it because I felt it's overkill for me.
It's a large machine as well, so it takes up a lot of space if you don't have a lot of
I also
space.
have like a Babola RDC machine, but the swing weight is totally off, and it's not possible to calibrate because I don't have the tools for it to calibrate, and it's really difficult. It's an old machine, old systems on French and stuff like that, so I only have it to measure the RA of the racket.
Yeah, no, the RA, but it's something that's tough to like look too much into because it's different depending on the layup, where the RA is stiff, where it's like flexing. The RA is kind of like an average rating that kind of people look too much into, I would say. Yeah, so you can get too much into RA, sadly. Okay, last question for you, Willie, before you have to go. You're in the string jungle now.
Yes.
You tested a bit of Vamos. You liked it in the speed, not sure about it in the Python. You played the confidential soft. You're also liking Tourline.
Yeah.
So what's your next experimentation phase to find like your setup for this racket?
The string depends a lot on the racket, what you need for the different rackets. For example, the Vamos was phenomenal in speed. I think it was a perfect match in that sense. For the Python, I'm a guy that needs the control.
Yeah.
I play very aggressive, like to accelerate through the shots, and I think it was flying too much for me with the Vamos. So I think I will be looking for a little bit more stiff string. I tried the Tourline Otoro Tour before, and I really liked it. Unfortunately, out of stock on that one, but otherwise that's the string I'll be testing next. I've been playing with a Hyper G in the past, which I think is top 3 string for me. The Otoro Tour was fantastic. Also, it was quite stiff, but with a lot of spin potential, which I really liked.
Yeah, you need to find the string that pairs with your game and the current racket. So if you have a racket that you're playing, like the speed, and you have one string, and then you change racket, you might have to go for another string. I mean, not saying always, but it might pair badly with your next racket. So you might need to go into the string jungle again.
Yes.
You know, the gear jungle, which we're always in, which is a fun jungle to be in, to be honest.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys, for the hit today.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.
Vamos.